In the mid-50s, toy trains weren't something you got into because you wanted to change the world. It was a sleepy hobby for painting cars and carefully positioning trees. Until someone came along and saw model trains for what they really are, a network. A group of bored computer science students started a tech model railroad club and changed everything. The gang broke into the college's mainframe. They soldered in phone lines to control trains independently. Where most saw a dorky hobby, they saw the potential to derail a whole system. They even wrote a dictionary to define what they were doing, applying ingenuity to create clever results, or as they called it, hacking. And just like that, the world's first computer hackers were born. The years passed, and hackers found their home on the personal computer. There, they rediscovered the thing that they knew best: networks. Nothing had changed. They were still testing what their toys could do. Only now, networks had become central to our lives. Banking, transport, agriculture, governments. Suddenly, hackers had the power to derail much more than toy trains. Some used that power for their own gains. Heavily funded nation-states waged war, criminal gangs stole millions. And then, they came for people. The data of billions of users who rely on the internet to live their daily lives. And who could stop them? The only ones who understood the internet like the attackers, the hackers. Those who were breaking the system in order to make it safer. The ones who saw the system for what it was. A network worth protecting. When it's your job to keep billions of people safe online, you have to live and breathe and see the internet just like the attackers do. Because the only way to stop a hacker is to think like one.
This is not weird at all.
Just another day at the office.
My name is Heather Atkins. I'm a VP of Security Engineering at Google. When I have to tell people what I do for work, it's really difficult. It's really complicated, so I usually just tell them that I keep the hackers out of Google. And I think most people understand what that means.
Heather has filled just about every security role imaginable at Google, leading teams on the front lines of every major cyber attack against the company and its users. If you've heard of it, she's defended against it. And if you haven't heard of it, you can thank her for that too. So when you want to know about the most devastating attack in Google's history, there's probably no one better to ask than her.
Let's see what the right intro for that is.
What better intro?
It was an exciting time at Google.
Google.
Android Street View
Nine-directional
is
cameras.
preparing to launch
A shocking moment to have everything sort of stop. December 14th. It was around 4 p.m. Just come out of my last meeting of the day, returned to my desk, and found a hive of energy nearby. Everyone standing around a computer, sort of talking, and They told me that they found some very interesting activity.
That interesting activity was the result of one message sent to a Google employee. A casual question with a seemingly innocent link. On any given day, there are over 5 billion links clicked across the internet. But this particular link changed the course of cybersecurity history. It opened a website hosted across the world and started invisibly downloading malicious software onto the Google employee's computer. And just like that, they were in. The attackers used that single entry point to establish a foothold on Google's network.
I was contacted by an incident responder, and they said, hey, we think we have something on one of your Windows machines. So the pull for me into security was one that was kind of cataclysmic, I would say, right? But it really struck me as something that I wanted to be part of.
At the time, security was nowhere near Tim Nguyen's job title. He was responsible for maintaining all the Windows systems running at Google, which explains why he got a call about one of his
machines
acting strangely.
Honestly, I was pretty naive. I mean, I thought, okay, one machine was compromised. That sucks, right? My day sucks. But literally by the hour, it got worse. It was a server that was meant for testing. It was tucked away in a corner of a data center. And the attacker had really set up home on that network.
We could see right away. I mean, there should not be a breach of this size. That just shouldn't be happening.
This is Eric Gross. He was the head of Google's privacy and security team when all of this went down.
We did not have playbooks for how to deal with all this.
This wasn't an ordinary security event. The speed, the ability for the attacker to learn on the fly, change their tactics, it was extraordinary. It was different. It was unique.
I mean, my world had just changed, right? We dropped everything and focused on this.
The following day, I was pinged again. Tim, can you come to this war room? There's a few of us here looking at additional machines. I was like, okay. By the third day, I just went straight to the war room. I didn't even go back to my desk. And that's where I sat for, I think, the next 6 weeks straight.
The investigation started with one dedicated conference room. And that quickly grew into 3 conference rooms and 4 conference rooms, and then suddenly a whole building.
They came by plane, train, automobile, and any means necessary. Traveling in person or dialing in daily. Specialized engineers like Mike Sino flew in from New York.
I was up at 2:30 that morning to catch the 6 o'clock flight.
And the head of incident response called off his vacation.
I was on holiday in New Zealand, so I did some of the work remotely, attempting to do forensics, over dial-up. But pretty soon it became a book the first flight, turn up in Mountain View and make it happen.
I remember landing in San Francisco airport, and from that point we were barreling down the highway at like 100 miles an hour, and it didn't slow down for weeks afterwards.
A patchwork team assembled from around the globe. Heather raised the beacon, Googlers answered, and she immediately put them to work.
It definitely felt like something out of a spy movie. Heather handed me a list of machines and said, go get them. Go pull hard drives out of machines all over campus. And this is in the middle of the night. So we hop in the rental car and we're driving around campus in the dark. We've got a bunch of flashlights running through buildings, capturing machines to do forensics on it. First, we started trying to unscrew and pull the hard drives out, but we decided that was taking too long. So we were just taking the machine.
Just unplugging their systems and leaving a post-it note for them. Because security was here. Please call this number.
We had a stack of hard drives and a stack of machines in the trunk of the car.
By that stage, we had a number of people just kind of churning through, looking at the different systems and figuring out what happened on this machine.
While the team was running forensics around the clock, Heather raised the alarm for others in the industry.
And I got this call from Heather Atkins, who wanted to chat with me about something that they had discovered at Google.
Enter Dmitry Alperovich. He's the chairman of Silverado Policy Accelerator, a global cybersecurity think tank. But back in 2009, he was honing his craft at a security firm called Mac.